as Roman mentioned, I started here as a lecturer, I think it was almost exactly 1 month ago. So I've started here at the FH Salzburg as a senior lecturer in experience design. So my major topic is experience design, but I've also been working a lot with technology, so I've always been combining both in my research agenda. I'm also looking after the experience design themes, so I'm publishing quite a lot in that area, plus I'm overlooking the program within the Masters, and I'm also in a coordinating role for the Master's program. So I hope we will be in touch quite a lot for that, and I will really be seeing your, let's say, student experience journey through the Master's program. Okay, that can stay with you in your memories your lifetime. At the same time, it can be of longer duration. Yes. So, for example, Tang and Richie identified that it can be really an experience. It's not something that relates just to a couple of seconds, but it can essentially combine the whole travel process from pre-travel, so before you're traveling, to during and post-travel. The travel experience doesn't just start with when you leave your house, and it doesn't just start with booking. Okay? A travel experience, when do you think does a travel experience start? Yeah, exactly. It starts sometimes even before that, when you consciously think about it, it starts essentially with your dreaming stage. When you maybe come across a Facebook or a Twitter post or an Instagram picture of your friends and say, wow, this is a really cool location, but you don't even think about now booking a trip to some destination. You just think, wow, this is a really nice place, okay? But your dreaming stage might start, to some element or some extent, and then you develop this into more concrete extent. But what we can say is it's really a travel experience extends across all those different dimensions. At the same time, we can say that it must involve an individual. So if you're not there, there isn't any experience. It is about you as a person, as a customer, as an individual, undergoing those experiences. What is also very essential to this is that an experience is subjective. What does that mean?
For one person can be good and for another person can be not so. It's different from the perspective of everyone.
Exactly. So for example, think about the idea that you're going to a really nice music concert and you're taking your parents with you. Okay? So you go both, going to that concert. But the concert experience might be very different because you simply experience it differently. Because you maybe have different expectations, you like the music, you have been to concerts before. There's a lot of different things that impact the way you go through that experience, okay? So even if you went, for example, to the same concert, or you guys, for example, go out for a meal, you have not the same experience as the person sitting next to you, because an experience is something utterly individual. So at the end, it might be positive for one person, as you correctly said, it might be negative for the next person, okay? So it's about that. And you also need to be, as a customer, actively involved. So this is a very important part of that. At the same time, we need to understand what is our context, So all those things you guys mentioned here, they're not happening in isolation. They're not happening in this classroom or in an isolated lab. When we talk about a travel experience, it's also about understanding that at the end, this all is happening in a big bubble. It's about the context that is happening here. So this might be your travel destination, this might be your hotel environment. So it's about understanding that all experiences are happening within a special physical environment. And also not just in a physical environment, but also in a kind of time environment. So it might be a specific experience moment. Or it might be you are at a restaurant and a waiter or waitress serves you some dinner, so it might be that service delivery moment. So it might be exactly that interaction. So what we can say is that this experience happens when, for example, individual interacts with certain products or services or experiences. So it might be about those interactions, about those what we call touch points. And there might be thousands and thousands of touch points. There's been one study in Switzerland where one hotel, and it was really interesting, it's Hotel Lugangrenten, they examined how many touch points a guest has in a hotel environment per year. Can anyone give me an estimate number. How many touch points are there in a hotel?
Per person? Or
Yeah. Like well, essentially they broke it down for a year, how many different touch points they do have.
to one hotel.
Yeah.
Like one person which works in hotel. Well, how many or what?
How many different touch points the whole hotel has in 1 year? I think this is what you look at. Not if you're a customer there for 1 day, but how many different touch points did a year? I know it's a very difficult question.
How big was the hotel?
How many persons work there?
Yeah. How many guests are there? I tell you, okay, to make it easier. But they examined that they have something around 170,000 individual kind of touch points. So there's around 170,000 different kind of interactions that are happening with the guest. Okay, this can range from concierge giving you advice about the city. It can range from they're parking your car, they're taking your luggage, they are knocking at your room with breakfast service, they are remembering your favorite wine at the restaurant, they are greeting you by name, or they are preparing a surprise birthday cake for you because they know in their data that it's your birthday today. Okay, so it's about all those touch points, and they have mapped it out in order then to enhance the whole customer journey. And it's not about the hotel only, but it's about, where are there any touch points before the guest arrives, about the customer engagement that happens prior to travel, and also when you go back home, that you still write a nice Facebook message. So about understanding that it is a whole spectrum of different touch points throughout the journey. Okay, and the final bit of an experience that you all correctly mentioned is that when this experience is happening, it's not just finished there, but as you guys said, it's about, at the end of the day, about emotions, about probably, hopefully, positive emotions. It's about knowledge, maybe that you go to a new culture and you experience something completely new, and then you get new knowledge about that. Or it might be about skills. For example, you booking a skiing trip and have never skied in your life, then you're gaining new skills. You're going for a kayaking trip, or you're going for, something really like skydiving. Obviously, you know new skills, you learn new knowledge. And in addition to that, at the end, what we should get is those memorable moments. So we should be able to translate our experiences into memorable experiences. Because when we take the whole idea of the experience economy and Pine and Gilmore, it's about memorable experience. But exactly the question is, how do we create those memorable experiences? And this has led us to the experience economy. Are you familiar with the experience economy? A bit? Not yet? But we covered this before, experience economy. Have you guys covered it in any lecture?
Yeah.
No? Okay.
Not here, but
In the bachelor's program? Yeah, okay. Good.
we've only been here a few months.
Okay. Then I'll cover it in a bit. Okay, so the whole idea is that this is the main book, so this is really one of the main publications that introduced the experience economy. Pine and Gilmore were the authors of that in the 1990s, okay? They came up with the idea of applying principles of almost like a theater to the business environment. And this is why they call the book Work is Theater and Every Business is a Stage. Okay? The idea behind that was that if we provide unique value, unique experiences to customers, we can provide them with something better. We can go beyond simple products and services, and we can create better experiences from that. And the whole idea here has become a key in marketing. It has really introduced a paradigm shift where we said marketing, when you're trying to sell something, it's not just about products and services, but really every single business should apply those principles, even if they come from theater, and create fantastic experiences. And what we know is that, think about Disney, okay? It's a completely artificial environment, but it's about creating experiences. It's about you entering a themed artificial environment. It's about you having a great day and creating memorable experience in that. Okay, let's have a look here at the next slide about the experience economy. About this example here. This is a graphic that explains it in a very simple term. Okay, so the progression of economic value. It's very simple. If we look at this scale here, we can see that here we've got something very undifferentiated, so a product, and here we've got something more differentiated. So on the left here, our competitive position goes up. And here we've got the market, like generic mass products, and here we've got premium. So here our pricing goes up. And what we can see is that we need to move from here to somewhere beyond here. And if we take the very, let's say, basic and very simple example of coffee beans, it becomes probably understood easily of what we mean by that. Okay, coffee beans. How much would you pay for 1 kilogram of raw coffee beans?
5 years maximum.
5 euros maximum, 10 euros. Yeah?
Not more than 10 euros, depends on the quality.
Exactly, yeah. But at the end of the day, so if you think about the scenario, you're in a supermarket and you've got 20 different packs of coffee beans in front of you, which one do you choose? Maybe you're going by price, maybe you're going by quality, as you said, maybe you're going by, I like this package best, I know the brand.
Yep.
Taste, yeah, or maybe you're just sticking to the same you always buy. Yeah?
But in this case, I think no one that likes coffee goes to Starbucks. It's totally about experience.
Yeah. We come to that also in a minute. And also, just taking note, this is not an advertisement for Starbucks at all, okay? So just let's take it as an example. The idea is that at the end, okay, we've got these products of coffee and it's very undifferentiated. So at the end of the day, the consumer doesn't really know which product should go for, and also the companies can't just say, hey, my coffee beans are so superior, I'm charging 20, 30 euros for that, okay? So they can't just say that, because there is no distinct value or no experience for you necessarily from it. So the whole idea was to, how can we maybe charge a higher price for it? And the only thing to do that is to translate the simple coffee beans, to turn this with some more customization into something better. For example, in some kind of service or produce that is provided is superior. So for example, ground coffee, create a nice package around it, and suddenly, instead of paying 5 kilograms or 5 euros for a whole kilogram, you pay maybe 5 euros for just like a very tiny package. But it has been kind of processed, so you have got already some distinct value to it, and you maybe are willing to pay slightly more. But we are in the service economy, tourism, hospitality, so what we provide or what we sell isn't just products, right? People want to come to hospitality environments, to a restaurant, to a hotel, because they want to have a service. It's not that you are selling beds. Obviously, people want to sleep in a bed, but it's not about that. It's about the whole service package that is around it and the whole experience. So suddenly, when we look at this at the coffee example, we can see that coffee turned into a nice cup, as you've got in front of you here. Suddenly, you pay probably 5 or 2 euros or something for only 1 cup, okay? Because a service has been provided to you, okay? So it's not just this product anymore, where we started from an agricultural point of view, but suddenly we've got a whole service that is provided around it. If you go, for example, to Starbucks, then you maybe, you get, or any other brand for that matter, you get your nice, chocolate on top of it, and they make it in form of like a Christmas tree or a heart or something, and they ask you to put other things in it. So it's about this whole service experience. But what we should really try to do is not just provide a service, and this is now very important for our industry, that we need to turn this service delivery into something special. And if we think about it, a coffee here, you get it from the machine or somewhere, it's just a simple service. But think about going to a really nice coffee shop somewhere in Salzburg or in Vienna. Suddenly, for example, give me an example, where would you drink a really nice cup of coffee?
Coffee shop.
Yeah. Sache, yeah. Yeah, and suddenly in Sache you pay a lot more than you would normally, right? But it's about also getting this experience. Does the experience economy make sense so far? Yeah? Okay. That's great. And feel free to ask any questions at any time. The next thing I would like to introduce is something that has come into our academic literature and discussion sometimes around 2004, okay? So the experience economy, remember, emerged at the turn of the century, 1999, and around 2004, we have encountered the concept of co-creation. It's about a whole mindset shift. It's a paradigm shift in marketing. It's not about that as a company you create a service and experience prior, but it's about the idea that the customer becomes the very center of all your activities. And this isn't just about TripAdvisor reviews at the end, but it's about holistically involving the customer from the beginning. And why we do this now? Because what we have discussed before, we are super empowered consumers. We've got social media, we contribute on Wikipedia, we write TripAdvisor reviews, we rank on Booking.com, we write our opinions essentially all the time. Okay? And this is what has given us this power in a sense to be involved. And companies can take advantage of that. They can take all the user-generated online content and then kind of provide a better experience from that. But co-creation goes one step further. It's about a mindset where even, as you correctly said, you know, when you're about to launch a new product, when you're about to launch a new service, a new experience, why don't you involve the customer prior to that or in that process? At the end of the day, your experience will be for the customer, right? It is all about the customer. So why sometimes do companies come up with experiences on their own, kind of in a small room, and then say, this is what we're going to launch, but the customer isn't part of co-creating maybe ideas. They are not necessarily part of crowd kind of inspiring ideas that will be put into practice. So it's about a whole mindset shift. And to some extent it has been argued, so take note of those authors here, Prahlad and Ramaswamy, 2004, they came up with the idea of co-creation, that we need to involve the customers much prior in this whole process. And the idea is that at the end, when we do that, our customers become much more actively involved. If they're involved, they care much more, and they will have more personal growth and more engagement. Okay, now let's go a bit more concrete, and now let's see that we've covered all the different bits about what the experience economy is and how we can create experiences into technology, and how now does technology allow us, as I said before, catalyst of change, as really as a tool to come in order to create even better experiences, or provide the platforms in order to do those co-creation activities. Now look into tourism. We've got something like this here, okay? What we can see is a connected mobile tourist. So this is you, this is I, this is us here in the middle, where we are this super connected tourist, and we are traveling with a lot of different devices. Whether this is your laptop, your smartphone, or your tablet, or maybe some form of Google glasses, as soon as they are ready for the mainstream market, we have some technology, and we are surrounded by those technologies. When we are traveling, we are a super connected tourist, and we are doing a lot of different activities, right? We need technology because we maybe be traveling to environments that we're not familiar with, we maybe don't know a lot about. So as tourists, usually, unless you're going back to the same destination, we have a lot of information needs. Okay, so we have a lot of needs. Where do we find the next restaurant? Where's the next bus stop? Where's the next tube station? Things like that. So we use a lot of different technologies in order to enhance every single touch point, again, when we use that word, of our experience. And technology comes in many different forms. Whether it's about booking events on site, whether it's about you finding the nearest restaurant. For example, in Salzburg it's 10 p.m. and you're hungry. You could just walk around the city, but how do you find a restaurant? If you've got a really nice app, then you can simply check opening hours that ideally is real-time synchronized and says, okay, it's 10 p.m. There is still food at that place, okay? Or it's Sunday, this restaurant is open. So it's about getting the information that you need. Okay? Have you heard about Sokomo and Solomon? Yes. Fantastic. Okay, so it's about not just having a mobile device, but through that mobile device, linking all your social bits, social media and social devices into it, but also having context-aware information. Information that is relevant to the location and context where you're operating. There is no point in a mobile application suggesting you, hey, you should check out, let's say, the Getreidegasse if it's really raining a lot, okay? You want to be advised something that you can do now indoor because you want to do something different because it's raining outside. If it's 30 degrees outside, then again, you want to have something that is context relevant to you. If it's 10 p.m., you want to have the opening hours of something that applies to you now, not what is happening tomorrow at 8 a.m. Okay, so it needs to be personalized and that's in context specific. And what has changed now, completely through technology,